Welcome to the English learning community. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, we're diving into something truly special. A story that's not just going to improve your listening and writing skills, but also inspire you to take your English to the next level. So, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's get started. Daily English habits. Small steps to big confidence. The woman who hid behind silence. In the bustling city of New York, where skyscrapers kissed the clouds and the streets buzzed with life, there lived a woman named Maria. Maria was 28 years old, with warm brown eyes and a smile that could light up a room. But there was one thing about Maria that most people didn't know. She was terrified of speaking English. Maria had moved to New York from Mexico 5 years ago, chasing her dream of becoming a fashion designer. She had a natural talent for creating beautiful clothes, but her lack of confidence in English held her back. At work, she avoided meetings where she had to speak. At social events, she stayed quiet, afraid of making mistakes. Even ordering coffee at her favorite cafe made her heart race. What if I say it wrong? What if they laugh at me? These thoughts haunted Maria every day. She felt like she was trapped in a cage of her own making, watching the world go by without her. One evening, after a long day at work, Maria sat in her tiny apartment, staring at her reflection in the mirror. "Why can't I just speak?" she whispered to herself. Tears welled up in her eyes as she thought about all the opportunities she had missed because of her fear. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a message from her best friend, Sophia, who still lived in Mexico. "How's life in the big city, Maria? Are you living your dream?" Maria stared at the message, her heart heavy. She wanted to tell Sophia the truth, that she felt stuck, that she was lonely, that she was afraid. But instead she typed, "Everything's great. New York is amazing." As she hit send, Maria felt a pang of guilt. She knew she couldn't keep hiding forever. She needed to do something, anything, to break free from her fear. The first step, a daily habit. The next morning, Maria woke up with a new determination. She had read an article online about building confidence through small, daily habits. The idea was simple. Instead of trying to change everything at once, focus on one small step every day. Maria decided to start with something easy. Every morning, she would say one sentence in English to the barista at her favorite cafe. It didn't have to be perfect, it just had to be real. That day, as she stood in line at the cafe, her heart pounded. When it was her turn, she took a deep breath and said, "Good morning. Can I have a latte, please?" The barista, a friendly woman with a bright smile, nodded. "Sure thing. Anything else?" Maria shook her head, her hands trembling as she handed over her money. But as she walked away with her coffee, she felt a tiny spark of pride. She had done it. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Over the next few days, Maria kept her promise to herself. She practiced one sentence every morning, slowly building her confidence. She started with simple phrases like, "How are you?" and "Have a nice day." Then she began adding more details like, "I'm going to work," or "It's a beautiful morning." At first, it felt awkward. Sometimes, she stumbled over her words or said the wrong thing, but no one laughed at her. In fact, people seemed to appreciate her effort. The barista even started greeting her by name, which made Maria feel like she belonged. The turning point. A kind stranger. One rainy afternoon, Maria was waiting for the subway when an elderly woman approached her. "Excuse me, "Do you know which train goes to Central Park?" the woman asked in English. Maria froze. She knew the answer, the A train, but she was afraid of saying it wrong. Her mind raced with doubts. What if I mess up? What if she doesn't understand me? But then, she remembered her daily habit. She took a deep breath and said, "Take the A train. It's the green line." The woman smiled. "Thank you, dear. You're very kind." As the woman walked away, Maria felt a surge of confidence. She had helped someone, and it felt amazing. For the first time, she realized that speaking English wasn't about being perfect. It was about connecting with people. In the next part, Maria takes her daily habits to the next level, facing new challenges and discovering the power of small steps. But when an opportunity arises that tests her confidence, she must decide whether to take the leap or stay in her comfort zone. The power of small steps. Maria's small daily habits began to add up. Every morning, she practiced speaking English at the cafe. On her way to work, she listened to English podcasts, repeating phrases out loud when no one was around. At home, she started keeping a journal in English, writing about her day and her dreams. It wasn't always easy, but she was determined to keep going. One day, something unexpected happened at work. Maria's boss, a tall, no-nonsense woman named Ms. Carter, called her into her office. Maria's heart raced as she walked in, clutching her notebook. "Did I do something wrong?" she wondered. Ms. Carter looked up from her desk and smiled. "Maria, I've noticed something about you. You're incredibly talented, but you always stay quiet in meetings. I'd like to hear your ideas. How would you feel about leading the next team presentation?" Maria's stomach dropped. Lead a presentation in front of everyone, she thought. Her mind flooded with doubts. What if I mess up? What if they don't understand me? But then she remembered the kind stranger at the subway station and how good it had felt to help someone. She took a deep breath and said, "I'd like to try." Ms. Carter nodded. "Great. The presentation is in 2 weeks. Let me know if you need any help." The challenge: preparing for the presentation. Maria spent the next 2 weeks preparing for the presentation. She practiced every day using the shadowing technique she had read about online. She watched videos of confident speakers and tried to mimic their tone and rhythm. She even recorded herself speaking and listened back to identify areas for improvement. But the fear was still there. Every time she thought about standing in front of her colleagues, her stomach churned. What if I forget my words? What if they laugh at me? She worried. One evening, as Maria was practicing in her apartment, her neighbor, an elderly woman named Mrs. Thompson, knocked on her door. Mrs. Thompson was a retired English teacher, and she had a kind, gentle demeanor. "I couldn't help but overhear you practicing," Mrs. Thompson said with a smile. "You're doing wonderfully. But can I give you a little advice?" Maria nodded eagerly. "Please. Don't focus so much on being perfect," Mrs. Thompson said. "Focus on sharing your ideas. Your colleagues want to hear what you have to say. And remember, everyone makes mistakes. It's how we learn." Maria felt a wave of relief. "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. I'll try to remember that." The presentation: a leap of faith. The day of the presentation arrived. Maria stood in front of her colleagues, her hands trembling as she clutched her notes. The room was silent, everyone's eyes on her. She took a deep breath and began. "Good morning, everyone," she said, her voice steady. "Today, I'd like to talk about our new collection and how we can make it even better." As she spoke, Maria focused on sharing her ideas, just as Mrs. Thompson had advised. She stumbled over a few words, but she kept going. Her colleagues listened intently, nodding and smiling. When she finished, the room erupted into applause. Ms. Carter stood up, a proud smile on her face. "Well done, Maria. That was excellent." Maria felt a rush of emotions, relief, pride, and a sense of accomplishment. She had done it. She had faced her fear and come out stronger on the other side. The funny twist, a coffee spill. After the presentation, Maria went to the cafe to celebrate. As she stood in line, the barista greeted her with a smile. "Hey, Maria, the usual?" Maria nodded. "Yes, please, a latte." As the barista handed her the coffee, Maria's hands were still shaking from the adrenaline of the presentation. She accidentally bumped into the counter, and the coffee spilled all over her shirt. The barista gasped, "Oh no, are you okay?" Maria looked down at her coffee-stained shirt and burst out laughing. "I guess I'm having an adventurous day." The barista laughed too. "Here, let me get you another one. On the house." As Maria sat down with her new coffee, she couldn't stop smiling. Life was messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright ridiculous. But that was what made it so beautiful. Then suddenly, after days, Maria's journey takes an unexpected turn when she's offered an opportunity that could change her life. But to seize it, she must face her biggest fear yet: the opportunity of a lifetime. Maria's confidence continued to grow after her successful presentation at work. She started speaking up more in meetings, sharing her ideas without fear. Her colleagues noticed the change and began to include her in more projects. Even Ms. Carter seemed impressed, often asking for Maria's input on important decisions. One afternoon, Ms. Carter called Maria into her office again. This time, she had a big smile on her face. "Maria, I have some exciting news. We've been invited to showcase our new collection at Fashion Week, and I'd like you to be the one to present it." Maria's heart skipped a beat. "Fashion Week? Me?" she stammered. Ms. Carter nodded. "You've earned this, Maria. Your ideas are fresh, and your passion is undeniable. But I need to know, are you up for it?" Maria's mind raced. Fashion Week was one of the biggest events in the industry. Designers, models, and fashion enthusiasts from all over the world would be there. The thought of speaking in front of such a large audience made her stomach churn. But then she remembered how far she had come. The small steps she had taken every day, ordering coffee, helping the stranger at the subway, leading the presentation, had all led to this moment. She took a deep breath and said, "Yes, I'll do it." The preparation, a new challenge. Preparing for Fashion Week was no small task. Maria spent hours perfecting her designs, making sure every stitch was flawless. But the real challenge was the presentation. She would have to speak in front of hundreds of people, many of whom were industry leaders. Maria decided to take her daily English habits to the next level. She practiced her speech every morning, shadowing the voices of confident speakers. She recorded herself and listened back, making adjustments to her tone and pace. She even enlisted Mrs. Thompson's help, practicing her speech in front of her neighbor and getting feedback. One evening, as Maria was practicing, Mrs. Thompson said, "Maria, you're doing wonderfully, but remember, it's not just about the words, it's about the story. Why did you create this collection? What inspired you? Share that with your audience, and they'll connect with you." Maria thought about Mrs. Thompson's advice. Her collection was inspired by her journey, her move to New York, her struggles with language, and her determination to follow her dreams. She decided to weave that story into her presentation. The big day, a mix of nerves and excitement. The day of Fashion Week arrived. Maria stood backstage, her heart pounding, as she looked out at the sea of faces in the audience. She could see Ms. Carter sitting in the front row, giving her an encouraging nod. As the lights dimmed and the music started, Maria took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The spotlight was blinding, but she focused on the story she wanted to tell. "Good evening, everyone," she began, her voice steady. "My name is Maria, and I'm honored to present my collection tonight. This collection is very special to me because it's inspired by my journey, a journey of courage, resilience, and hope." As Maria spoke, she shared her story, her move to New York, her struggles with language, and how she had found her voice through small, daily steps. The audience listened intently, captivated by her words. When she finished, the room erupted into applause. Maria felt a rush of emotions, relief, pride, and a sense of accomplishment. She had done it. She had faced her biggest fear and come out stronger on the other side. The funny twist: a wardrobe malfunction. As Maria walked off the stage, she felt a sudden tug on her dress. She looked down and realized that the hem had come loose, trailing behind her like a train. She burst out laughing, grabbing the fabric and holding it up as she made her way backstage. Ms. Carter was waiting for her, a big smile on her face. "Maria, that was incredible. And don't worry about the dress. It just adds to the drama." Maria laughed. "I guess I'll have to add wardrobe malfunction to my list of adventures." The heartwarming ending. After the event, Maria received countless compliments and offers from designers and brands. But the most meaningful moment came when a young woman approached her, tears in her eyes. "Your story really touched me," the woman said. "I've been struggling with the same thing, and you've inspired me to keep going." Maria felt a warm glow inside. For the first time, she realized that her words had power, not because they were perfect, but because they were real. As she walked home that night, Maria thought about her journey. She had started with small, daily steps, ordering coffee, helping a stranger, leading a presentation. And those small steps had led her to this moment. She looked up at the New York skyline, the city lights twinkling like stars. Life was messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright ridiculous, but that was what made it so beautiful. The unexpected encounter. After her triumphant presentation at Fashion Week, Maria's life began to change in ways she had never imagined. She received offers from top designers, invitations to exclusive events, and even a feature in a popular fashion magazine. But despite her newfound success, Maria remained humble and grounded, always remembering the small steps that had brought her here. One evening, as Maria was walking home from work, she noticed a young girl sitting on a bench in the park. The girl looked to be about 12 years old, with curly hair and a tattered backpack. She was scribbling furiously in a notebook, her face scrunched up in concentration. Maria felt a pang of recognition. The girl reminded her of herself at that age, full of dreams but held back by fear. She walked over and sat down on the bench. "Hi," she said softly. "What are you working on?" The girl looked up, startled. "Oh, I'm writing a story," she said shyly. "That's amazing," Maria said with a smile. "Can I read it?" The girl hesitated, then handed over her notebook. Maria read the first few lines and was immediately impressed. The story was about a young girl who discovers she has the power to talk to animals. It was imaginative, heartfelt, and full of potential. "This is really good," Maria said. "You have a gift." The girl's eyes lit up. Really? You think so? Absolutely, Maria said. But why do you look so worried? The girl sighed. I want to enter a writing competition at school, but I'm scared. What if I mess up? What if people laugh at me? Maria felt a lump in her throat. She recognized the fear in the girl's voice, the same fear that had held her back for so long. Can I tell you a secret? She said, leaning in. I used to be scared too. I was afraid to speak English, to share my ideas, to follow my dreams. But you know what helped me? Small steps. The girl tilted her head. Small steps. Yes, Maria said. Every day, I did one little thing to face my fear. I ordered coffee. I helped a stranger. I practiced speaking in front of a mirror. And little by little, I got better. You can do the same thing with your writing. The girl's face brightened. You really think so? I know so, Maria said. And if you ever need help, I'm here. The funny twist, a mischievous dog. As Maria and the girl talked, a small dog, a scruffy terrier with floppy ears, ran up to them, barking excitedly. The girl laughed. That's Max. He's always getting into trouble. Max jumped onto the bench and sniffed Maria's bag, his tail wagging furiously. Suddenly, he grabbed the strap with his teeth and pulled, spilling the contents of the bag onto the ground. Maria burst out laughing. Well, I guess Max wants to be part of the conversation. The girl giggled as she helped Maria pick up her things. He's such a troublemaker. As they sat back down, Maria noticed a small notebook among the spilled items. She picked it up and handed it to the girl. Here, this is for you. The girl's eyes widened. Really? Yes, Maria said. Every great writer needs a notebook. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be reading your stories in a bookstore. The girl hugged the notebook to her chest, her face glowing with gratitude. Thank you, Maria. I'll never forget this. The heartwarming ending. As Maria walked home that night, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had faced her fears, found her voice, and now she was helping someone else do the same. Life was messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright ridiculous, but that was what made it so beautiful. When she got home, she found a package waiting for her. It was from Ms. Carter. Inside was a note and a beautifully wrapped box. Dear Maria, the note read, I'm so proud of everything you've accomplished. You've not only found your voice, but also inspired others to find theirs. This is a small token of my appreciation. Keep shining. Maria opened the box and found a stunning necklace with a small pendant shaped like a microphone. She laughed, tears welling up in her eyes. A microphone? Really, Ms. Carter? She put on the necklace and looked at her reflection in the mirror. The girl who had once hidden behind silence was now a woman who spoke with confidence and courage. If you enjoyed today's story and found it helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We've got so many more inspiring stories, practical tips, and fun lessons coming your way to help you master English and boost your confidence. And hey, if you're feeling extra motivated, leave a comment below and tell us, what's one mistake you've made while learning English, and what did you learn from it? We'd love to hear your stories and cheer you on. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, every step you take is progress, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. You've got this.